while since we had. Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon all. Welcome back to our double IIRSM webinars. It has been a while since we had our last webinar, and we promised you we will come back to you soon, but now we are back again for another, sure it's going to be a fruitful webinar by Mr. Jonald, and this is a very important topic when it comes to safety documentation. One of the major non-conformance for most of the audit usually goes into or linked to documentation. Jonald is going to take us through a journey on proper documentation and documentation analysis, and how does it affect or improve overall safety at site. Jonald, I'm going to leave the floor to you to introduce yourself and start the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah, for the introduction. So, welcome everyone for today's presentation on documentation analysis skills for the safety practitioners. So whether you are a seasoned or professional or just starting out with the field of this discussion, we're going to provide you a valuable insights and practical tips to enhance your safety initiatives. So I am Jonald de la Cruz, a field compliance coordinator at the Spark Project, Rock Infrastructure Development Projects Department in Saudi Aramco. So I hold a bachelor's degree of science in having this specialization in human resource development and management. Additionally, I have a 3-year diploma in electronics and communication. And I have this certification in project management professional and master black belt in Lean Six Sigma. And currently I'm on track to graduate a master's degree in business administration this coming year end. So now, let's go now to our topic. We're wondering about why the documentations and analysis skills are so important for safety practitioners. Well, I'm gonna tell you, the effective documentations is allows us to keep track on the records and what went wrong of these particular incidents. What are the measures that we have to be taken to? These are the questions that we will going to clear up also. So the aim of this documentation and analysis skills is to develop the ability of our safety personnel. Okay, for the how you're going to review, interpret, and extract those informations, the records that you have. So without further ado, let me present to you the course outline. So the question here is why the documentations and analysis skills are crucial for safety personnel, the role of documentations in safety management, the types of documentation for safety personnel, so as well as the effective documentation practices, the introduction to analysis skills. And this is the essence of this part of our topic right now, the types of analysis, how the analysis become effective. And then in this integration of documentations and analysis skills, when we combine these both skills, what is the impact? And then also we will going to discuss the challenges that faced by the safety personnel in documenting events and as well as analyzing these informations. The importance of documentations and analysis skills for the safety personnel. So these are the topics that we will going to have for this session. So straightforward, why documentation and analysis skills are crucial for safety personnel? The answer is what every safety personnel's aim is to be effectively identify and mitigate the risk in the workplace. That is what we need. All right. So in today's digital age, where information is abundant and constantly evolving, improving the documentation analysis skills is more crucial than ever. So what you're going to do if you have a bunch of records, informations, you're gonna stack out of that. So here is the sample. So we have this practice, this safety management guide. The safety management guide allows us to monitor the contractor site safety performance. And throughout the years, when I tried to study back those informations, those findings that we had, well, I just figure out that most of them are, they come from the safety manual, is the challenges, and then key stuff, trainings, followed by toolbox talks. So these are the things that we have to look at. But no one is looking at this before I came into our organization. So I'm going to hold this for a while for this chart, for this information, and we will going to discuss this further throughout this after within the middle of this presentation. So documentations and analysis skills for safety personnel. So as I said, this is crucial. This is essential to the operations and during the performing of your duty as a safety personnel. So by developing these strong documentations and analysis skills, safety personnel can become more effective onto their job and continue the a safer workplace. Imagine, what if there is a one document that is obsolete, running out through the operation? What's gonna happen next? For example, a machine that is the parameter setting is obsolete. So the materials as well is not aligned to what is the specifications required onto your operation. So what will be the effect? So in documenting the situations, you can able to get those informations and analyze, and the next time you can prevent something to happen. So effective documentation is the keyword here is we have to be consistent. Consistent on what? Yeah, consistent in format. Retrieving those obsolete documents, and sometimes the controlled documents, just spreading out. However, those controlled documents, it's mean that this must be retrieved after some time. That's why it said controlled documents. When it is uncontrolled, meaning you don't have to rely on that particular documents, you have to go back again. I believe all of the organization that especially certified by the ISO, they have this document control center. So you have to get back onto that. When you have a copy of a certain documents that there is uncontrolled, mention on the document is uncontrolled or stamped, it means it is loose or something, and then you don't have to use it as the side, because the uncontrolled documents, it says that yes, the informations can use as a reference for the time being, but the accuracy they cannot guarantee because this is uncontrolled. That's why you have to go back again to the document control. So going forward, what is the deliverables it means? So yeah, we usually hear that deliverables. Did you submit your deliverables? Oh no. So what is this? Yeah. The meaning of the deliverables in business, this is something that can be provided or achieved as a result of a process. This comes from the Cambridge Dictionary. Yeah, so this is the specific product or services or results that are agreed upon between the both parties. So it's just like you are going to, on your journey, you have a backpack, and then on your backpacks, you have this deliverables. Now question, are your deliverables are exactly that your client or the who awaits on your destinations that you're going to head on is the exactly they want. So what is the relation between the deliverables and expectations? So this is the concrete manifestation of the expectations. This is the deliverables. So it is essential that when we said, what is your deliverables? We have to learn the clarity, also the clarity, what is the exact informations that they needed, exact deliverables. So this is the expectation. We have to be clear onto that so that there will be no waste of time or resources. What is the effect of these deliverables? What is the cost of this? Let us see. Yeah, as you can see here, the deliverables are the tangible products or services that created, performed in the completion of a project. Exactly, that is what we looking at. However, when you said cost, there's a value, right? Looking onto these pictures, on the first picture that there is a concrete pouring. After the concrete has been poured into the and become pavement, so now question here, is there a proper soil test has been conducted or a compaction test rather? And if you don't have the deliverables, what you gonna have to do? Are you going to break it down again, the concrete, and do the soil test or compaction test? So that is the reality in the deliverables. You cannot deny the cost of the deliverables. Look at this here in the two circles. There is a pipeline. And then there's somebody working on the pipeline. What if he did a testing, like for example, hydro test, flow test, whatever the testing that is required, right? He did it. However, he did not documented it properly, or he lost the document, and then it was been buried. Okay, what gonna happen next when the your client asks, "Hey, what is the result of our hydro test? Where it is the flow test? What is the pressure of our pipes that we buried right now?" And then, oops, I don't have this record. So you're going to dig it again. So these additional processes is another cost. So look at this. Sometimes we just ignore those records that we have, those informations, but behind that, there is a cost, a weight. Okay, so either you can gain if you're going to use it as your source of information to improve, or you didn't you didn't use any at all, and then something happened. So either positive or negative side will gonna you choose. Okay, but of course, what is better to be effective? What that we are discussing is the how to become an effective uh, safety personnel in using our the skills in documentation. So you have to keep these deliverables, right? So the cost of the deliverables depends on various factors such as the time required, the completion. Yeah, you cannot go back. Okay, time is the natural. Uh, uh, that is a natural thing. It will go on. You do the testing. You record it, or you will not going to record it. The time will go. So that is the also we will going to discuss the challenges. It's also the time, the resources needed, and whether the cost is feasible. There are different techniques for estimating the cost of the project, such as parameter and bottoms up estimates, which provide the most accurate cost projection. So imagine if you have a bunch of deliverables and you lost it. That is a cost, okay? Think of it. Now, let us go forward to the role of the documentations in safety management. So, yeah, as I said, this is a critical component in safety management. Well, look at this situation. If you didn't uh, do anything that has been written, what can happen? They said in the procedure, said you do the inspection or you do the hydro test, but you didn't do it. So what's gonna happen next? Yeah. So there's an effect. What if you're doing something but you didn't try it? What is the effect? So the role of the documentation in safety management is simple. Write everything that you do and do everything that you write. Now think of now what you go back now um, on your job role. What are those things that you are doing that has not been written on your procedure or on your job descriptions? That's why sometimes we complain, hey, it is not part of my job. It is written on my job description is I'm just going to 1, 2, 3 doing this up to 4. But now I'm doing this 5 roles. So see, this is essential. Also, the documentation is not also part of the safety. It's also part in quality and any type of business processes. But now we are just focusing on the safety. What is the effect of this scenario? Like you will not going to document anything on it. Well, we have stories from our previous bosses. So I have mine. There's a good and there's a bad, of course. But there's a story that it marks us. And I am gonna share you one of my story here. Well, so later on, I'm going to introduce first the types of documentation for the safety personnel. The documentation for the safety personnel is sample there is the incident and investigation reports, safety plans, risk assessments, safety inspections, emergency evacuation plans, safe work method statements, and training records. But there's a lot of documentations. These are the samples that we are using in safety management system. Of course, the most familiar this the work permits. Okay, so and we have also we should. Encouraging everyone that also if you are in line with the safety in safety aspects, we have to be aware also in that compliance documentations. Sometimes most of people are or safety personnel, they are good at sight, but going back to the documentation compliance, they're I'm not saying they're zero, but they have a poor skills. How they gonna keep it? How they going to record it? So well, yeah. So after this, I'm gonna tell you that story about my previous boss, but it's really good. Yeah. So the power of documenting the moments. Imagine this. We have this upcoming, well, what you call this? This is the corporate assessment. This corporate assessment is really a big deal to us in our organization. And then every time that my boss has these activities or meetings, engagements, I always took pictures or videos, and then he asked me, "Hey, why you are always taking pictures. Of course, my defense, before I taking pictures or getting the videos, I ask your permission. Of course, yeah. So, and then here, yes. And then what is the impact of this? We have the corporate assessment, we have this cycle of 4 to 5 years. So after the one cycle of our assessment, well, that is a great impact happened. Okay. So look at this. The impact is in a previous assessment that we had, our score is only 24%. And after that, it become 71%. And, you know, there are all the documentations in our success. It's really a big highlight. So having a visual timeline on our progress allows us also to showcase the tangible changes that we had from the previews and what is our existing practices. And it's really now visible in our sites and also in our documents manifested. So capturing the moment during the meetings, projects, or even personal milestone documentations, this will going to allow us to reflect, okay, in our progress. So taking pictures and videos is another form of documentation. However, yeah, we have to be careful. There's a restriction, some of the areas that restrict the taking pictures and videos are restricted. So we have to seek permissions or what is the procedures in doing such. So we can reflect to our progress. So looking back to the past and even also it will going to help us to analyze the growth, okay? And then it'll gonna showcase the achievements, okay? It is a visual evidence. No one will going to question you because this is, unless you are a Photoshop. You go to the Photoshop, well, of course, you're not going to do it, okay? So showcasing the achievement is really essential, especially in the audits. So because it will tell a lot of stories. And one picture, a lot of stories. You don't have to say anything. Just show that the pictures like this. What you got? What is this pictures trying to communicate it to you? A happy moment, isn't it? And there's what? What more? There's a recognition, or there are some of this. Yeah, you see the donuts out there. So, and then the next is the transferring of knowledge. Yeah, photos and videos is a form of transferring knowledge as well. Yeah, right now the knowledge is everywhere, especially in internet, in YouTube. You can learn a lot of things. Okay, even in TikTok, yeah, the dancing. So it's another form of transferring knowledge. Yeah, skills as well because you know how to dance after that. Yeah, the last is the preservation of these memories. So we can capture the memories, and this will going to allows us to relive the precious moments. So we can yeah, after some time we can go back to your moments that, hey, years ago we are like this, and then this is the pictures now, and then this is the moments that we had before. Yeah, yeah, I saw you have a still have a hair on that years way back before. Now you it's it's gone. See, so these memories, okay, we're going to still also connects us to our colleagues, friends, also in our families. Now, this is, as I said, we are now going to the most essential part of this topic. Yeah, the analysis. In Merriam-Webster, a detailed examination of anything complex in order to understand its nature or to determine its essential features. Yeah, correct. Straightforward. This is the statement of such examination. Hey, Donald, I'm done on the examination during my school days. I want to work. Well, brother, in safety, it is continuous learning, I'm going to say to you. So there's no way, there's no shortcuts in safety. Since the technology are evolving, then we have to learn those technology. We have to adapt onto these things. Especially, yeah, the analysis skills also help you to identify areas for improvement. Your safety management system, by looking back of your documentations and records and pinpointing the areas where your organization may going to have a shortcomings, or it will be as there will be a falling or on the particular area, so that needs to develop or formulate the strategies. Yeah, this is essential. Okay, so what are the types of the analysis for safety personnel? I cite some of this analysis. There's a lot of analysis actually, but we have this job safety analysis, YY analysis, hazard analysis, chemical sampling analysis, strength, weakness, and opportunities and threats, or SWOT analysis. And by the way, if you have any questions, just you can hold on to, and then at the end of this session, we can entertain your questions. So going forward, so we will go focus on this data analysis, because this is somehow the essential of the analysis on the analyzing informations. Is the data analysis. Data analysis is a process that involves collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data to identify trends, patterns, and insights. So yeah, so Jonah, what we're going to do about this data analysis? We're not a statistician. Yeah, of course you're not, but I'm gonna show you the skills, basic skills of a safety personnel having this analysis skills. So what is the process for the data analysis? We have to identify first what is the data or information that we want. Okay. Like for example, if you like to know about the incidents, what types of incident that you'll go to get informations? Are you going to get the informations about the traffic incidents or near miss incidents, a safety observations? What particular? Be specific. We have to learn about these things. And now, after you identify the data that you want, you go for the source. Can you get the source, the data from the uh, if you like to get the information, for example, these near misses incidents or traffic violations, can you get it from your supervisor? Can you get it from your colleagues? Of course, there's a certain particular uh, responsible or point of contact for these particular resources or sort of these informations that you're going to collect. So after you collect the informations, you have to clean it by removing information, or we call it normalization. We have to normalize the data where you have to look those variables are in place. And after that, this is the interesting part. You're going to extract the insights from the collected data. This is the analysis process. You're going to extract it. You're going to play with it. How many do you think this particular into this particular variable A to variable B? What is the effect? Now, let us go for the interpreting the data. You're now going to interpret after you understand the insights from your collected data. So here we go. So, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, what do you see on your screen? Is this a matrix? Right? So our brain is limited to grind information for this particular of scenario. So there is gonna show you a skills to tools to show this into to become simpler and understand by our brain. This is the 7 QC tools. Jonald, where again, some of us here are safety and why you are telling about this QC tools, quality control. Yeah, this is a quality control, but these tools can be applied to safety by using them, by identifying the risks and such potential hazards in the workplace, and then taking corrective actions. And then these tools, this set of tools will going to help our brain to visually analyze those informations that we got or from we extracted. Okay, so let me explain to you one by one of these tools. We have this flow chart. So, or sometimes we call it stratification. This is the um, it simplifies your procedure. If you have a bunch of words, paragraphs on your procedures, on your process, how are you going to simplify it? That in snap of fingers, now you know where you're going to go after it has been rejected. So there is a decision box. So you either you go yes or go no. What you got? What will be the next process? And when are you going to stop? So these are the things that use where the flowchart use. And then the next is the checklist. Yeah. How can you ensure that your procedure is effective or it has been implemented? One of the way is taking out those critical informations from your procedures and then putting on your checklist. For example, you have a procedure that for the inspection of, let's say, inspection of the pipeline. Yeah, you're going to inspect it. Is this the pipeline, the thickness? Is it no corrosions? In your procedure, there should be no corrosion. So take out those corrosion. Take out those the length or the specifications and put in your checklist. And then you can say that, hey, this checklist supports your procedure. So these are connected with each other. Now, after you got the checklist, so we go to the histogram. In the histogram, this is the most used graph for showing frequency of distributions. So how often and each different value as set into the data occurs. For example, how many in the pipe on the first day of inspection of your pipes, how many of them has a corrosion? On the second day, or a batch, or the colors, whatever you're trying you put on your checklist, you can set it up in your histogram. And then from your histogram, then it goes now the Pareto chart. So it is a bar graph that shows which factors are more significant. Yeah, so this is the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of outcomes result from the 20% causes. So later I'll go into more detail on this Pareto chart. The next is the cause and effect diagram. Yeah, the cause and effect diagram, or sometimes they call it Ichikawa diagram or fishbone analysis. X and Y is the output and X is the input. You are going to, if you have learned that this the on your Pareto chart, you learned that the most was the corporate of all, and then yeah, you're going to do the investigation. And then this is the root cause analysis. You have to look back on the man, machine, method, material, money, and environment. The next is the scatter plot. The scatter plot, well, this is the graphs that pairs of numerical data, the relationship between X and Y. So there is a negative correlations, there's a positive correlations, and there's no correlation at all. So in this graph, as you can see in the scatter plot, it is a negative correlation. When you see the graph, those small dots are pattern aligning, going towards to the right side, this is a positive correlation. And if the dot is scattered, so the name of it is a scatter. This is no correlation at all. So the last is the control chart. So control chart, it is a graph used to study how the process changes over the time. And then this is where we control things, okay? Example, last in our previous experience, in last 2020 to 2021, this pandemic happened, COVID-19. So all of us are monitoring those temperature. The temperature is 37.8. If you're 37.8, you go to this room. 37.5. Okay, go here in this room. You can work. See, you control this control chart. So how many are those came up outside on your upper control limit, and how many also for the lower control limits? So these are the basic, but really essential. Basic tools, but you know, this is the most often used in of the managers worldwide. So going back to the metrics, yeah, that you see on your screen right now. So here we go. The introduction to analysis skills, example data, the contractor employees. Immediately, we analyze that L has a 704 employees, contractor employees. And those A and B has the least, having this 11 contractor employees each. And another of this of the chart, we have this here, the pie chart, which shows that batch 4 has the most participated, okay, employees. So in a batch 1 and batch 2, you can see there is a very less, participation. There's a certain, if you're going to interpret something here, there's a drama happening here, right? On the first batch, second batch, you see that 4%, 6%, and 14%. However, on the fourth batch, 35%, 41%, and in the fifth batch is 35%. Imagine if the classroom or a room or or whatsoever that an area has not been utilized or maximized. Imagine that with this population, 704, 319, 297, all of this sum up, and then 6 or 4% in just batch 1 is only participated. So with this such of informations, we can somehow initially can conclude that something happening out there. There's something wrong, yeah? Isn't it? Hello? So we will go forward more. So this is what I'm saying now. Going back to the first chart that I had shown up to you. On my study, the safety, manuals, key stop, trainings, toolbox talks, so these are hurting the contractors' safety performance, or this is the source of why they are pulling, why they are the performance of contractors are down. So what is the source of this? Of the why they have this problem in safety manual? Why they have this problem in key stuff? So we grind again we play again on the data, and then we found out that, hey, there is a poor documentations in procedure, 28%, and there is a poor management strategy, 26%, and no insufficient records, 16%, and poor lacking of communications are 60%, 16%, and the rest is negligible. Because 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle, states that roughly of 80% effect come from the 20% of the causes. So this means that a small number of inputs of factors can have this disproportionate impact on outcomes. So we don't have to look all of these causes. We just go for what is the 20% of the causes. Now, what is the safety manual? I'm gonna give you just one example in safety manual. It says when we ask during the audit, provide a copy of updated company safety manual. But see, imagine this question. So another question is the availability of your manual in the strategic area. So another here is the key staff familiar with safety responsibilities and relevant procedures. So imagine this, and it's really alarming us because these are the basic. So what happened next after I figure out these things? Let me enhance you first with this. The effective analysis is we have to define first the scope of the analysis until where is the coverage and how we will going to analyze it. What are the tools? Okay, what are the resources we needed? And then look at in this picture, there's a critical lifting happening here. Now, question here is how we can prevent that, because we said critical lifting, how we can prevent that something to happen. Okay. So using these tools from the previous records, documents, we can analyze and give recommendations. Oh yeah, we have this a lot of happening here that the type of this material that you use in lifting this sling is not good. How can you say that if you are supported with your records, data, that these incidents and then on your investigations and most of it are come from this particular material? Yeah, you can prevent something to happen. So let us go forward. Let us now combine these two skills, documentations and analysis skills. So to achieve optimal safety outcome, it is essential for the safety personnel to integrate the documentations and analysis skills. Yeah, I agree. So now, if this been combined, what is the effect for the safety personnel? Let us see on the next slide. All right. The challenges of the personnel in documentation analysis. Before I'm gonna give you a scenario. However, we will going to discuss first the challenges here. We have this lack of standardization, data quality, time constraint. This is what I'm saying. In the deliverables also, How are we going to provide the deliverables if we have this time constraint? So limited resources. Yeah, I hate this when there's you are limited on your resources. For example, you are going to process a data and you're using a computer of like Pentium 4. So imagine that. Uh, so maybe some of them they don't know what is the Pentium 4. Okay. Pentium 4 is the old version of computers. Anyhow, going to forward is limited resources, so lack of expertise. Yeah, this is matters. Lack of expertise. Sometimes managers, this is where they fail when delegating tasks, okay, to persons, which is lack of expertise. So he should know where are those particular strong areas of each person's. Now, data silos. Yeah, when he said, "Oh, I have to keep this. No one will gonna know about this. It is my job security is nonsense. This is the challenges in the safety." And then the next is, I'm sorry about it. Yeah. The next is the uh, complex data. If you have this a bunch of data, right? How are you going to analyze this, extract those insights of it, keeping up with regulatory changes? Yeah, this is also essential. Nowadays, it's just not only your client who has asking for your deliverables, also the government as well, the regulatory records. They are asking you, where is your environmental certificates or whatsoever. So keeping and communications or reporting and communications. Yeah, you always there's always a communication meetings, reportings. So this is also a challenge for the safety personnel in performing the documentation and analysis. Data security and privacy, so straightforward. Now, next is the scenario. We know now the challenges, and this is the scenario. There are two buildings, and each has a different contractors. Work permit receivers also is different, and they have also work permit issuers. And there's also ongoing simultaneously renovations and also road construction projects. So what is the effect of this scenario? We call it hybrid risk. This refers to the combination of a potential threats and vulnerabilities associated with the physical and digital environments. Okay, I'm emphasizing it. Physical and digital environments. We're now in the new era, digital era, right? So most of our documentations, if you want to become more effective, avoid those manual processes in documentations, put it into digital, in digitalization process. Now, here we go. On that scenario, what happened next? The proponent safety manager for the ongoing construction of two buildings has received alarming observations and near misses reports for 2 consecutive weeks. Oh, of course. Okay. So in addition, there have been complaints from the stakeholders that were received through customer calls. And in response to this, the proponent manager said, "Hey, come on. Who are those in charge for these contractors?" He called this in the meeting. And also the safety personnel, the permit issuer, the permit receivers, they asked to bring the risk assessment that have been conducted prior to the constructions to start. So what do you think the result of this meeting? What they have concluded? Let us go more deeply look into this scenario. Contractor A has a work permit. The work permit process is like the permit issuer, before they start to work, he has to go to the site with the permit receiver, and they're gonna walk through, go to the perimeters and look around and ensure that all the hazards has been mitigated properly. Okay, and then there's no problem. Sign. Both are agreed to the work permit that yes, it is safe to work. However, there's another contractor, okay, that is ongoing also. They just issue also the work permit. They sign also, but without communicating to another contractor because they are a separate entity. So what is the impact of this? You see, there is a shaded area. This region, call it the hybrid risk. Okay, because the first contractor, they did the risk assessment, but on their own activities only. Also, the contractor B, they did the assessment on their activities only. What happened if the contractor B will going to install the scaffolding, and then at the same time, on the other side, the contractor A also will going to install their own scaffolding, and then the space is not enough to take those two scaffolding sets. See, imagine that. And then there's another one, the road construction. It's funny, isn't it? So you see, there's another regions of hybrid risk. What you going to do about it? If you are the safety person, yeah, I didn't assess what is gonna happen to that particular activity because I don't know what is the activity of the road construction. So the combination of these three scenarios may lead to an overall increase, okay, in inconvenience for the individuals or into the environments who live in the vicinity. Look at this. There's a small red region. This is the combination of these three activities. Much more if there is a 4 or 5 activities. So that's why we have the communication of the risks is essential. If you have a contractor A, you have this risk, you have to communicate it to the contractor B. Hey, guys, hello there. On the other hand, the road construction in charge. Ask them, let us discuss. Okay, sit down and talk and set up this study one time. What are those activities that may gonna affect us? So sometimes this is the gaps in the doing the simultaneous operations with other contractors at the same time in the area, right? So how we will going to have this the criticality of hybrid risk that can be significant due to the several factors: the complexity, the dependency, security, and the compliance. Yeah. And then how we will going to mitigate it? To mitigate this criticality of hybrid risk, we have to have this comprehensive risk assessment. My practice, every time I'm joined to in a certain organization, I always look for the risk assessment. So this is where I look at first. Then strong security and safety measures, regular monitoring and maintenance, disasters recovery and business continuity planning. Or sometimes the other companies or organizations, they call it the business continuity plan. Okay. And then the employee training and awareness. Look at this in the picture. Yeah. Is in the picture, there is a senior management, there's a manager, and there's a worker. However, there is a constraint. Okay. There's another on the budget. Yeah. So as another, it is another factors is the budget. Okay, in our project that it can also increase the level of our risk. And
Excuse me,
then
Mr. Donald.
yes,
Sorry, just 5 minutes. So we need for the time. If you
yeah,
5 minutes
sure.
left. Yeah, sure. Please. Okay.
I will do. I'm going to wrap up now. This, yeah. So we have this hybrid risk management methodology that there is a study how we're going to manage this hybrid risk. This is the identify the risk, assessment of the risk, and then they avoid and mitigate the risk by using the business contingency planning. So finally, yeah, and on my study, on the going back to the chart that I have, that's the safety manual, key stuff, and trainings, toolbox stocks. So we addressed this and came up and to an idea to innovate to have this scorecard and the deliverable map. And this in this way, we able to deliver the informations to our safety personnel and then other involved persons how about our safety management system, including the requirements. Yes, and then we use this here is the Excel sheet because we know that most of people are knowledgeable in Excel sheets in using this and the environment of it. So we use the Excel sheet. And now the achieving these goals requires more than just a technical expertise. The safety personnel must also be diligent and detail oriented and committed to continuous improvement. So by the following of following best practices for documentations and analysis, so that I am showing up to you also a sample, it will going to allow also you to think, yeah, might gonna have you can use this also somehow in your organizations. And then uh, there's a lot of things will gonna happen after you learn those informations that you have after you interpreted it. So basically, you have to write everything that you do and do everything that you write. That is the first. And then the second is you have this data, you have to use it and interpret it by using a right tool. So with this, you can conclude what is the best is the strategic plan for you to for your organization. Okay, for your workers will be safe at work or during at work. So yeah, so documentation and analysis skills are the keys that unlock the doors to success. So remember, every piece of the data holds a story waiting to discover. Your documentation and analysis skills have the power to unveil the insights that can change the game. So lastly, don't be afraid to think out of the box or outside the box. So embrace the creativity and innovations. So I think I can now conclude my presentation. And with this, for any question, I can return now the control to Abdullah. Thank you, Abdullah.
Thank you, Mr. Donald, for the presentation. That covers, and I think 1 hour might not be enough to go through the documentation process because documentation process and reviewing the documentation, what is required is another story in this subject.
Indeed.
Yes. Back to the question. We have Mr. Farid Amari. He mentioned combined assessment, permit to work, and JSA. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on that, Mr. Farid?
Combine the assessment of the permit to work and JSA. Yeah. Yeah, this is the combination
before start of project. They need to sit together, three, to do a combined document. I think before they start the work, maybe not the project, because the project as whole in general, I'm not sure if they can identify all the required JSAs or permit to work, but maybe before they start the work itself.
I agree to you, Abdullah.
Okay, we don't have any more questions unless you have any more, Abdullah.
thank you. That's all, and hopefully we can have to run in-person seminar here in Saudi. I think we already working on something for early next year to have something for in-person program, in-person seminar or conference. This is the latest news. Number of members now increased in Saudi. So we have a lot of members joining the society. And one thing, and I'd like to add, is to encourage everybody to log into the mentorship or in if you want to call it the LMS program or the mentoring link on the as a IIRSM member. You will get a lot of support on that. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Abdullah. And thank you, Donal, for a really interesting presentation. As Abdullah said, I think we could probably do 2 hours on this subject at least. But thank you very much for giving up your valuable time today. And thank you, everyone, for attending. The presentation will be uploaded onto the IIRSM YouTube channel sometime over the next couple of days. So good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. And we hope to see you at the next webinar. Bye, everyone.
Thank you all.